Shelley, thank you so much for joining me today for the League of Goddesses Spotlight interview. I have known you for a while, but I am ecstatic to get to just do this interview with you and share you with the rest of the ladies of the League.
Oh, it's going to be so much fun. I cannot wait.
I know. Okay, so I am just going to, because you know the protocol, go ahead and just jump right in. So my first question is, do you have any nicknames? And if so, what are they?
So I do. My godchildren and my team members call me Shishi.
I love it. That's so like Queen of Sheba, girl.
I know. They call me Shishi. And then we've also have a running joke that every time I go to Starbucks, everybody wants to rename me and they call me Shelley.
That one I don't understand. Why?
They cannot get Shelley. They spell it with a CH. I have no idea.
I mean, that's cool, but I like Shishi. I'm so good.
That's better. Mm-hmm.
That one's beautiful. Is it like S-H-E?
Uh-huh. It's S-H-E, yeah. And I have a storage unit for my business, which we'll get into, and they call it the She Shed.
Oh, I love it.
It's okay, She Shed.
That's awesome. Okay, so when is your birthday?
It just happened. It's March 9th.
Well, happy belated birthday. I didn't know. I hope it was fabulous.
It was fabulous. I turned 50. I ran into it with open arms. So I'm thrilled I've made it 50 times around the sun.
It's crazy. And what a beautiful perspective, because I know before the last few years, I always was like, oh God, another year older and more gray. And now I'm like, you know what? Another year that I've been blessed with, and this is fabulous. And I feel like it keeps getting better. So congratulations to 50 times around the sun.
Thank you.
Okay, now tell me, and I won't make any guesses, what's your favorite color?
Black.
And second, what's your second favorite?
Probably a neutral, because I like to accent with pops of color. I just think that's way easier and much more fun.
Oh, girl, we are so on the same page.
I'm a shoe girl, so let's be honest. That's so much more fun.
Shoes are so fun. We don't have to get into how you know that I love shoes. I'll let you get into that later. Okay, so favorite color is black. And are you a coffee girl or a tea girl?
Oh, I'm a coffee girl, hands down.
All day or just in the morning?
Just in the mornings, or if I need a little pick me up, I might have one a little later in the day.
You spoil yourself a little bit.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and now what city and state do you live in?
I live in Dallas, Texas, and I live in the clouds. I live in a high rise in the Uptown area on Turtle Creek.
Oh, nice. I used to live up there and I miss it. I'm like, oh, the clouds is such a beautiful place to live, right?
It really is. I mean, it's a really great escape. I mean, and there's just so much life. People think, oh, you don't live on the ground. And I'm like, but there's so much life. You can see the storms roll in. You really get a good perspective of the city.
And isn't 4th of July killer up there? It's like you can see fireworks everywhere.
Amazing. And I'm fortunate that I have 2 balconies. So I have one on either side because we span a whole side of our building. And we can just go from one to the other, to the other, to the other. And they're magnificent. And you wouldn't think you'd see so many, but they're great.
You really do in Dallas. So the next 4th of July party, ladies.
Gonna be at my house.
Yeah, I'm like, Shelley.
She's still host.
Love it, love it. Okay, so if you could only pick one, are you a book girl, podcast, or blog?
I mean, it's so hard to say. I have to tell you, I have 2 favorites, and I'll tell you why. So I love a book if I'm doing education, trying to learn something, because I can write in it. It's tactile. But if I need a good escape or I just want to zone out, I am a podcast person, hands down.
You know, I never thought about it in that manner, but what a great idea. Like to listen to books that are just for fun and beauty that way, like someone's reading to you. I might have to try that because I am such a, like you, tactical, but what about for just relaxation? That's
exactly. But I mean, I'm like, I can't learn as well from a book. Like if I'm trying to read, something about, just how to be just better in whatever it is, I have to be able to write in it and highlight it and crack the spine if it's not opening and feel like I don't have to return it or do anything. It's mine. I can.
Yeah. That is exactly how I need
to.
That is exactly how I am. But it's funny to me that it never dawned on me that for relaxation, it is so nice to have someone read to you. So I'm going to try that. Thank you for sharing.
Love that. Yes.
Okay, so now tell me, what is your favorite book of all time? And maybe podcast too, since you have those two unique ways that you like to do it.
So my absolute favorite book of all time is The Giving Tree by Shel Silverstein.
Oh, beautiful. I haven't read that
Favorite.
one.
You what?
Why is it your favorite?
There was something about it. So I'm an only child. And when I was 5 years old, my dad planted a tree in the front yard of our house. And that is the only house I ever lived in. My parents lived in the same house for more than 40 years.
Wow.
And I read that book and was like, oh my gosh, I have my own giving tree. But then it was so much more than a tree to me. It was also kind of more, the tree represented to me how you should be towards people. Like it wasn't about this tree, but it was, you're going to have that close knit. I call it your personal board of directors. You're going to develop a personal board of directors in your life, and you need to be that giving tree for them. You need to branch out and cover them, protect them. You need to give them a limb to hang from. You need to give, when we're all old, we're going to want a stump to sit on. So, when we're all hanging out together, we're going to be each other's stump. But it was so much more. It resonated with me. And I have just read it and read it and read it my entire life.
Oh, that makes me want to read it now. I love it. Okay. That's on my list then.
Yes, put it on your list. And then podcasts, since those are my escape, I have fallen in love with a podcast group called Full and Scholar Productions. And they do just kind of all these random, just you get sucked into the characters, whether it's a murder or just some prehistoric something or other. But I've been obsessed with this one podcast right now called The White Vault. And because of COVID reasons, they were a little behind on production. And so I'm just like sitting on the edge of my seat until May when it's season 4, because I'm just what's going to happen? What's going to happen?
Okay, you've piqued my curiosity in both, and I'm going to have to check it out. So thank you for sharing those.
Of course.
Is there one, and I think you maybe kind of touched on it, but just one, if you could only have this last one to share with people that is just like lighting you up right now, what would it be?
Which book right now?
Mm-hmm.
Oh gosh. I honestly don't, so what's lighting me up right now, and I made this choice as I was turning 50, I'm rereading the entire Bible.
Wow. Are you going to do it like throughout the year, or are you just reading
throughout the year? I'm doing it throughout the year, and I started on my birthday, and I have been rereading it because it has been quite some time, and I've had such a change in perspective, but that's kind of what's just been in my heart. And so I followed it, and that's what I'm doing.
Oh, I love that. I love anytime someone follows, their desires. Mm-hmm. And I feel like they're so different for each of us and so different at different phases in our lives. But I've realized when I set them aside, that's when I become unhappy. It's like, set your desires aside for work or for taking care of others there is time for sacrifice, but not with your desires. Like, no, we can make it work and create whatever time is necessary to make those things happen.
Mm-hmm. So, I totally agree.
Well, beautiful. Okay, so now can you tell me a little bit about your business, Shelley?
I can. So I own Neat Dallas Highland Park, which is a professional luxury organizing company, but it's a little bit more than organizing. We are full service in the fact that we help people with every aspect of their life, whether it be moving, just doing a little space refresh, giving everybody a sense of calm, systematic ways for people to enjoy their home and not have the chaos of trying to find things. I mean, we spend, and especially I guess the past year, everybody spent so much more time at home that it became a pain point for so many people. But a lot of our clients reached out after COVID and were like, if I had not had you before that happened, I don't know what we would have done. And so it's more than just plastic bins and boxes. It really is a lifestyle brand. It's really bringing clarity, clearing up your mental space, just anything that makes life easier is what we do. So
I
the
also feel like as your client, you beautify. You come in and when you guys leave, it's you have stuff or things, right? And then when I feel like you guys leave, then your treasures are on display. So you turn the space into not just practical and usable, but beautiful. And for me, that's the key. That's why I keep calling you back anytime there's something new, there's a new project. Not only do you provide just clarity on where things should be and how they flow nicely for organization and for it to be, effective, but you display people's beauty. And it's just, you guys are phenomenal.
I love that. I have never heard it put in those terms, but I love that. I'm going to have to coin that phrase.
Well, please do, because everything that you guys touch, it's beautified. And it's like you read my mind. You do better than read my mind, because if I could do it, I would have. But you read the feelings that I'm hoping to obtain when I see my things. And when I walk in after you've been there, it's just like, oh my God, gorgeous and peaceful. And I couldn't do it because I don't have your talent. So.
Well, and I think that's a lot of what it is too. And I mean, so many people, they have the great ideas, or there's just something. I mean, all of our clients are so dynamic. They're busy. They're wives, they're entrepreneurs, they're moms, they're caregivers. There's so much that all of our clients are going through. I mean, they can get to a certain point, and then we just kind of help get everybody over the hump, so to speak. But I love the fact that you say beautify, because that's one of my favorite things about our business, is that we do just create these amazing, beautiful spaces. And beauty has a different aspect for every single one of our clients. So
yeah, it's not about necessarily the size of it. It's about the end result of the display that you create. And I mean, don't we all buy things because we think they're beautiful, or at least we hope so. And so to see the attention to detail that you guys are able to give to make that shine. And I mean, even in the smallest thing is pulling open a drawer. But every time I pull open my silverware drawer to pull out my spoon for my coffee, I'm like, oh, it's so pretty. Okay, I could go on and on about your talents all day. I'm going to stop.
I know, I do love that drawer though. It's probably one of my favorite spaces. We'll have to give everybody a tour of your house at some point and kind of do a little neat seminar and kind of talk about our favorite spaces.
Girl, you are welcome to when it's finally finished.
Yes.
Or maybe we just give up and you just go do it anyway.
We'll just push the contractors out of the way.
Like, excuse us, they can't ever finish.
Yeah, exactly.
They live with Alicia now. Okay, moving on. So now tell me, Shelley, and I feel like I won't guess on this one either, but what is your bliss?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So I thought about this one, and I think there's so many things that create blissful moments, but when I drilled down to it, the things that just give me the ultimate happiness have been moments with my husband. And it's the little moments. It's when we're at a family dinner and all of a sudden our eyes just lock, or we're just walking through the house and we take that moment to just hold each other's hand, or just take a moment to just stop and enjoy what we're doing. That is when my heart is just about to explode and I am the absolute happiest.
Oh,
and it's the littlest stuff.
Yeah.
It just brings me the greatest joy.
It sounds like to me, what you're saying is when you're being present with him, like fully there. Beautiful.
And totally unplanned. Never a planned moment, ever. When they're all unplanned.
I feel like I need to meet him, because I'm like, you're so cool. I wonder if he's similar to Charles, because I think we have a lot of similarities.
Well, because I know your background, you would absolutely love him, because he is from Syria. So he is a traditional Middle Eastern man, and you will absolutely adore him.
Oh, well, let's do dinner. Let's do dinner sometime.
We'll do that. I would love to do that. He would love to meet y'all too, because I've been talking about you with him, and he's like, oh my gosh, he goes, I think I need to meet her. And I'm like, yes. I was like, y'all probably know similar people somewhere down the line, because you all know everybody, because it's such a small, close-knit community. I'm like, I know you're going to have mutual friends. Plus the conversations would just be amazing.
I bet they would. So we need to have to let's do that. Okay. So I have to tell you, and I kind of hinted to this, I have this bad habit of loving these conversations and going on and on. And it's always me because I'm like, oh my God, it's like girl date for me. So I'm going to go back to the questions. My next question for you is, why did you join the League of Goddesses?
Well, I mean, I joined it to support you. But no, I did join it to support you. And kind of probably a theme that anybody who's listening has heard is that I did have a milestone birthday. So I just turned 50. And I really spent some time thinking about kind of personal growth, and COVID gave me a really good time when my business was shut down. One of the things that I had realized I wanted to focus on was my personal board of directors, the people who sit at the table with me all the time, hold me accountable. And I realized that I needed to make some changes. There were some seats that needed to be filled, and there were some that needed to be evacuated. And when I read about this just amazing dynamic group of women and the concept that you had created, it was so positive, and it had such a different feel than just getting together with girls and talking about life, because that can tend to go negative about everything that you're unhappy with. And this was just, I was like, this is going to be a group of women that can support me, lift me up, challenge me. And I was just like, this is perfect. I was like, these are the people that I want to surround myself with at this time in my life and moving forward. Like, I'm done with the superfluous. And so it came at the perfect time in my life. And I was beyond thrilled to learn, especially too, that it was you.
Oh, so, thank you. It makes me so happy because I know that the League is full of women who feel exactly the same way. Because I talk to all of them. I'm like, oh, this is beautiful. And the connections that I see being built in here are, first of all, they astound me at how quickly people connect. And then business, of course, happens. But the connection is so deep because we all understand that the other woman is an entrepreneur. So all of the things that you have to explain to others, like, oh, sorry, I was busy, and you don't have to say any of that because we all get it. And we're all just like, hey, whenever you're available, we're here to love and support you. And if you're having a hard time, let us remind you who you are and show you that mirror and be like, girl, whatever this shit is, you've got it. And so it's so phenomenal to know that you have that connection and those women are right there whenever you need. And I'm so happy that you're a part of it.
Yes.
So wonderful that you're here. Okay, so now let me ask you, what do you hope to attain from this community of women?
I just hope that, I think I'm always up for learning. And so I hope that the women that are part of this group can challenge me. I hope that they can support, encourage, and also be that halt and stop accountability person too, being like, okay, wait, this is amazing, but we've all tried it, and here are the roadblocks you're going to encounter. Let's talk through them. Really somebody that can have those meaningful conversations because they've walked in my shoes and we're all going through it together. So I hope that everybody can be that for me. And then on the flip side, I want to be that for everybody in the group too. And just be that, emotional support. I mean, it's hard. I think we're all going to agree that being an entrepreneur, being your own boss, you can easily lose track of yourself. You feel like you're working for everybody else and not for yourself. And so just to know that anything I ask another member of this group is not going to be stupid or silly. And we've probably all had that thought, no matter how trivial or how just it is.
Yeah, I love it. And you totally answered my second question. What do you hope to contribute? You read my mind. So I think that is absolutely beautiful. And that is the point of the League, is that we can give our shoulders for others to stand on, because why reinvent the wheel? And also, to me, when we all share our gifts, we move so much further faster. And we all have gifts to share. It doesn't matter if you're just brand new in this journey or you've been doing it 10, 15 years and you're super uber successful. We will never continue growing. And we all have something that we've invested, our lifetime in, our genius that the others will be able to benefit from. So I think that what you want to attain and what you're willing to give is absolutely, absolutely beautiful. My next question is going to be, can you tell us who is important in your life?
Oh, well, I mean, that's easy.
Well, we know your hubby.
Well, obviously my hubby, but I'm an only child and I have one parent left, and that is my dad. He is the other pea in my pea pod, and he is super important to me. Definitely my best friend. And then my husband, and then with my husband came 2 bonus children. So that's the 4. And then I do have an amazing daughter-in-law. So
lovely. That sounds beautiful. I love that you have a good relationship with your dad. That's how I feel about mine too. And I'm just like, that cute little old man. I just like squeeze.
I know, you just want to pinch their cheeks. And then sometimes you just want to be like, what? What? You realize you're that age. I know up here you're different, but
yeah. My dad, I swear to you, the older he gets, the more of a mush he turns into. And I get like his texts are like poetry. And then he tells my assistant the other day, he told her, he was like, I can't even imagine what it's like to be with Alicia every day. Dad.
Oh my gosh, that's so sweet. Where does your dad live?
He just lives in Irving, right, down the street. But it's just like, so sweet. And I'm like, well, Dad, probably if you were with me every day, you'd be like, dear God, she's constantly moving and wound up like a rubber band.
Well, and okay, funny you say that. So my dad had a hip replacement a week ago, and I spent the night on the couch and all of that. And I think the same morning we both woke up, and I was getting ready to approach my dad and be like, maybe we might want to think about a night nurse.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking this in my head. I walk into my dad's bedroom and he's like, so I was thinking maybe. And I'm like, okay, we've hit the wall here with each other. We need a little break.
Yep. How funny that you both got there.
Like, oh my gosh, we get there at the same time almost all the time.
That's why you say a pea in the pod.
The other pea in my pod, yeah.
So okay, I have to say this is probably one of my favorite answers, and it was just so sweet, and probably because I feel very similarly about my dad, so it's nice to see.
I love that.
Having a good dad is, it's really priceless, and I think that so many people haven't had the opportunity to have that experience, and so if we can share ours, I always try to share my dad with everyone. I'm like, oh, he'll love you just as much as you.
Oh yeah, my dad has a food blog. I'm always planning. Like, Dad, we're going to have people over. We're going to cook. We're going to do that. I've started telling my whole team about him. And my dad's like, wait, who am I cooking for? What am I doing? I'm like, just cook. And
just do it. You're good at it.
Yeah, we'll show up. We'll be there.
Oh, I love it. Okay. So now tell me, Shelley, what dream have you made come true for yourself?
Owning my own business.
Phenomenal.
I think I've wanted it since I was, I don't know.
Little.
I may have wanted it since the moment my dad planted that tree. I don't know, but it's always just been something I've wanted to do, and I did it.
Yeah, and you do it well, girlfriend.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Sweet. Thank you.
Okay, so then now tell me, what does your heart most desire at this time?
At this moment, it is desiring a refresh. I need a little time to just check out, reset, and escape.
And you're about to get it with your hubby.
About to get it. I am getting ready to embark on a trip of a lifetime. So,
do you want to share with?
Yes, we are going to Dubai, and then we are going to the Maldives, and then we are going to Lebanon.
It sounds so phenomenal. If I could fit in your suitcase and not squash all your clothes, I would so be like, can I tag along?
Yes, I leave a week from today, and I just keep pinching myself because I see it on the calendar and I'm like, wait. And then I'm getting emails from the hotel and I'm like, this is really where I'm going? I'm like, oh. And then I read about it and then they say Wi-Fi and I'm like, oh no, can we cut the cord? We need to cut the Wi-Fi cord while we're there. No Wi-Fi while I'm there, please.
Accidentally spill water on your phone.
Exactly. I may just leave it turned off. I don't know, but I'm very excited. Be in the middle of nowhere, float around in the Indian Ocean.
I
So
can't wait to
excited.
hear about it. I hope you take lots of pictures and share with me because those are on my bucket list.
Oh yes. Yes, so many people have said that. They're like, tell me all about it. And I'm like, I will tell you all about it. I'm worried I'm not going to sleep though, because I am a water baby and I love the ocean. I love to swim, and I'm an only child, so I'm fearless as
Yeah.
well. And Imad, my husband, is worried that since we have one of these overwater bungalows and it has a glass floor,
Yeah.
he's worried that I'm literally just going to sleep on that floor and like watch
The
everything
ocean.
for 24 hours a day, like looking for sea life. He's like,
Oh.
you do realize that you're a person, not a cat. This is not. And I'm like, I know.
I'll get in bed with you, babe.
What?
I'll get in bed with you, babe, at least
I
until
know.
you fall asleep.
I promise. And then while you're asleep, I'm going to go be like, oh, look, there's.
I love it. I love it. Well, I hope you document it well because I am so excited to see.
Oh, I will.
Wonderful.
Cannot wait to share.
Yeah, share it on the league. Like, just post your stuff because there are quite a few girls on there who love to travel. And I know we're planning a trip for the league for Egypt 2022. And girl, I know I am so excited. I'm like, Egypt with your girlfriends. Could it be any better?
No.
I don't
No.
I don't
Not.
So yeah, definitely put that one on your calendar.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm there.
I know it's gonna be so fun. And here I go again. I'm talking. I'm like these things.
No, I could talk to you for hours. I mean, we could just, and I bet it's like that with everybody in this group. So I love that you put us together.
These
so
are
we
like
can do that.
Yeah, and these are like the most badass women because we all get each other easily. And so it's like, oh, this is so beautiful. Okay. My next question. My next question is, if you weren't Shelley and you were introducing Shelley or speaking about Shelley to a girlfriend, how would you describe her?
I would say that Shelley is extremely creative. She's innovative. She is extremely loyal, with a little fierce personality. So can be a little overwhelming at times. But she's also extremely down to earth, very relatable. I think you'll love her. She is just an amazing person, so many different life experiences. And she also respects that everybody's different and that everybody started somewhere.
I love that. Yeah, you describe yourself to a T. So that was beautiful. I'm like, yes, I do. That is you. Yep. Beautiful.
I take a while to get to know myself.
Yeah. I think that's a good quest because for so long, I was so interested in taking care of everybody else that getting to know me and care about my preferences was on the back burner. It's just like, oh, I'm good at what I do and I'll just move forward. But somebody who truly takes the time to get to know themselves makes the best friend. Mm-hmm. Because
it didn't used to be that way though too, right? Mm-hmm. It used to be like, I mean, I'm seasoned, so I've had a couple of careers, and it didn't used to be that way. It used to be that you had to be that caregiver. You had to be that person that kept going and going and going. Because if you stopped or you tried to do something for yourself, even though that wasn't the right perception, it was perceived as weakness.
Yeah.
And it was perceived as, oh, she can't keep it all together. Oh, yeah, it's too much for a woman to handle. She can't do it. And so it used to not be a thing. And so now that it's more, prevalent for everybody to get to know themselves, whether it's women, of course, I, put it in the terms of women because we're all, entrepreneurs, but anybody, but especially for women, it was just perceived as just this huge weakness that you couldn't do it all.
Yeah. And it's so far from that. It's, to me, I just read the book, The Big Leap. That's our April book. And in book club, and that's all that it talks about. It's like when you're operating in your genius, you create time, and all of that stress of I don't have enough time just disappears. And so when you're taking care of yourself and you're in your genius, you get so much more done than when you're just trying to get it all, finished. Just a different mentality. But I think it's taken us time, like you said, to get to the point where we'll accept that and understand that, hey, when I step back and I do me, all of you get a way better version. And so it's now, to me, perceived as strength for you to be able to say, hey, I need to do that. Versus, you're right, people used to look at it and I feel like you were judged, just like you said, especially by our male counterparts because they didn't understand.
Oh, yes.
But I feel like there's a lot of awakening happening in our, more masculine counterparts. They're starting to see like, whoa, women are pretty badass. And if you let them be, and then if you're kind to them, the things that they can do are just phenomenal. So it's beautiful to kind of watch the world adjust.
And it just happens. We're not out there waving the flag either. We're just doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. And so they're just appreciating it.
They are. They're reaping the benefits for sure.
Yeah. It's beautiful. I love it. Okay. So now tell me, Shelley, what is the vision that you have for humanity?
Oh gosh, that's such a good topic. And it's funny, I talked to people about that, and I was recently interviewing candidates to be an assistant for me. And I think the vision I have is that we need to get away from the mentality of everybody is a checkbox. Mm-hmm. I would love for people not to be thinking of themselves as somebody that they have to fill out on a form. They don't need to check what box. They don't need to, identify themselves. It's humanity. It's the vision for humanity. Yeah. We just recently all went through something as humans together. And it didn't matter whether you lived in Italy or you lived in Africa or you lived in South America or the United States. We all went through something. We all experienced COVID. We weren't this ethnicity. We weren't this person. And I would love for us to get away from thinking that we had to identify that way, that we could all just identify ourselves as members of the human race.
That's beautiful. I love it. And that definitely hits home for me. It's beautiful. Can you tell me?
It's sad to see. I mean, I don't know.
That's what you want. Can you tell me how this vision affects your decision making?
So I think, in my line of work and just where I've come from in my life, I've always kept it in the back of my head, like and I'll give you an example. So I used to work, prior to owning my own business, I used to work at a printing company, and I ran manufacturing and production. So I had 3 shifts of individuals that came from every walk of life. I had a perfect bind who when you bind books together, he ran the machine that did that. And on the weekends, he lived at his lake house, and personal hygiene was not a thing for him. But he was an amazing worker. I had the same relationship with him that I had with the CEO. Like I wasn't, and I just treat everybody the same, because we all have a story. That's where we came from. That story made people who they are. And there's so much to learn from that. And it shouldn't be something that you hide. Nobody should be ashamed of it. Nobody should feel inferior. Nobody should feel superior. So when I make decisions, I always remember that at the end of the day, we all want to be productive members, for the most part, of society. We all want to accomplish something. We're there for a reason. Like we're all there in the same spot, on the same project, at the same, charitable event, whatever it is, we're all there for the same reason. And that reason binds us together. And it doesn't matter what the parameters of your life are. We're all there, and we need to appreciate that. So I make decisions based on that. I, try to put myself in another person's frame of reference, and just, there's never any judgment from me, never. And that has guided pretty much everything I have done career-wise since I was in my mid to late 20s.
Wow. That's a long time to practice that. That's beautiful. Can you tell me?
I had an amazing mentor. So he gave me some amazing words of advice one time. but do you mind if can I share?
Well,
Can I
you can share now, or at the end we have like your biggest tip. So
Oh, okay.
if you think
I'll
he was
save
going
it.
to save it for him, save
Save
him.
it. Yes.
Okay, so then my next question is going to be, how have you implemented actions into your business to help create your vision for humanity?
Um, I I have learned how to delegate, and I have learned how to outsource. I went through a phase probably that everybody goes through where you think you can do it all. You can do it all. You're the master of everything because you're the one that created this. So you're going to own it and you're going to do it all. I have learned to delegate and appreciate every single value that a person brings to the table and slot them into roles or situations where they are going to thrive and they're going to be able to bring that talent and just step back and watch the magic happen.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, it's not about me. I mean, and I would say, even though I'm an only child, I truly believe it's not about me. I do feel like, working for my team is very rewarding because to see them flourish and to put them in opportunities for success, it just amazing things happen.
It's so true.
When that's, perfect mix comes to play.
I love it. Okay, so now we're at your question. If you could share one piece of advice that you have been given from a mentor that just, set the stage for you, in your case, for the rest of your business career, what would it be?
Okay, so I had the most amazing mentor. He passed away unexpectedly, but just cherished this advice he gave me. And I'll give you all a little backstory before I tell it. So this manufacturing environment, right? Man's world. I was the first female manager they ever had. Broke that glass ceiling in the man's world. And I think what got me there and kind of pushed me ahead of some of my competition was that one time we were just sitting having a conversation and I was like, how did you get where you are? He was, grew up in Houston in a not good area, moved to Dallas and just worked his way up, became a whole manager of a department, senior management team, the whole thing. And I was like, how'd you do it? How did you do it? And he said, just think about it. He goes, everybody's in a bowl, right? He goes, and we're all trying to get out of the bowl. He goes, when you're fortunate enough to sit on the rim of that bowl, he goes, what are you going to do? And I was like, well, I'm not going to answer the question because I want to hear what you have to say. And he's like, you're not going to jump out of the bowl. He goes, you're going to swing your legs over, you're going to reach your hand in, and you're going to pull somebody up to sit on that ledge with you. And I get chills. Oh, when I tell that story, I still get chills. And I was in my late 20s when he told me that. And I started looking around in my life and I was like, you know what? That's the best advice just for any situation. And it has resonated with me my entire life. And it was just the best advice. And if everybody could think like that, I think we'd get closer to my vision for humanity.
Yes. Wow. Shelley, that was so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that with us. I feel like it was like a piece of gold he gave you and you just shared it with all of us.
I love it. Like I said, it gives me chills to still talk about it because he really helped shape me into the business professional that I am.
Wow, how phenomenal. Well, Shelley, I had a beautiful time with you and I would love to do this again. And I can't wait for the ladies of the league to get to know you better. Ladies, if you want to spend time with Shelley, please just leave a comment below. I'm sure she'll reach out. She's super outgoing and friendly. So enjoy your trip. I am so excited for you and I can't wait to hear about it when you get back.
Thank you. I hope y'all have the best time at the seminar. I'm so sad. I'm going to miss it. I cannot wait to have some people share some nuggets with me that I may have missed. I hope we can have a debrief of some sort. So
Yes,
we all
we definitely make sure that happens. I think it's going to be phenomenal. I'm excited. And then we'll have one for the third quarter too. So hopefully you'll be in town for that one.
amazing. Well, thank you so much for the time. This has been fabulous. I loved having a little coffee time with you.
Oh, I loved it too. Girl, it was so good to see you. Mwah. Travel.
Y'all have a great one. Bye.